All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Makah, Kodesh. And double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. All right, it's the brother Bakwar Math, and the other brothers Ayash, and I'm Nawala here. And, Lord's willing, we wanted to get into this video, nice, quick, edifying stream. I was watching the stream that was done by the elder apostle Aram um, I believe yesterday, and he had mentioned that title, the one you see as we have here, "No More Empires of the Heathen," and he said, "Hey, that's the title for a lesson right there." So when I heard it, different precepts started coming to mind, and I figured, hey, why not? So I spoke to the brothers, and we here. So let's get right into it. We got just quite a few precepts here. So Lord willing, we'll try to get through it in a timely manner, because ultimately, um, this that is where the climax and prophecy is going to lead to. All right, it's going to lead to no more heathen, no more empires of the heathen. Now, through the course of history, if you even start at the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had, that the Lord had given him in Daniel the second chapter, he had the dream of the statue, which represented the various different empires and major empires of the heathen that would reign and that would rule um, from him all the way on down to the empire that we are in today, which is this beast, okay, America and the NATO and the EU. All right. And so you had the Babylonians, you had the Assyrians, you had the Medes, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, all right, all the way up until now. And ultimately, that's all going to be ended. And there's a reason why the feet, right, the feet of it were the iron mixed with miry clay, which represents this system today. Like I said, um, the NATO, the EU, and America. And actually, yeah, that's good that you brought that up. Now, I believe when you go down all the way to about close to the last verse, it talks about the stone that was cut out without hands to that came and smashed the image upon his feet.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can find that. It's right around the last verse. All right. Matter of fact, really, you could start at verse 44.
Yeah. All right. Daniel 2, verse 44 says, "And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but
Hmm.
it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever."
So what does that mean? Now, that kingdom that the Lord is setting up is the kingdom of heaven, and it starts with the nation of Israel. So Ezekiel chapter 37 is an example of that, because the Lord setting up the kingdom in the days of these kings starts with us going out there and standing upon our feet and teaching. When you see brothers out there on the highways and byways, that is the beginning of it, because the scriptures say that the kingdom is really within us. We make the kingdom, you know and as it says, it's going to take over all these other kingdoms and break in pieces. So that's why there's going to be no more empires of the heathen when Yahushua comes, because he is going to solidify the kingdom of heaven, all right, and set it up on earth as it is in heaven, and all these other nations are going to be under us. All right, it's not going to be any nations that are going to try to come against us or go back and forth or anything of that sort. All right. You got anything I want to add to that?
I can continue on the precept.
Yeah, actually um go down to about where it talks about the stone.
Yeah, it's right here, 45.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm.
For as much as thou sawest the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold.
Mm-hmm.
And the great God has made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter.
Mm-hmm.
And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
There you go. So the interpretation thereof is sure, meaning that this is going to happen. All right, Slock, you go back down again, so I could just
Oh
reread
yeah.
that again. Right. So it mentions about the stone that was cut out without hands, which is ultimately dealing with Yahushua,
Con.
because he is going to be the known as the chief cornerstone he is going to be the one that's going to usher this in by defeating, all right, these kingdoms. It's going to start with the beast, but all these other kingdoms as well, they're going to be taken down with it.
God.
Okay, so
Yep.
we could get into the ones we have, I believe, with Daniel 7.
God. This is Daniel chapter 7, starting from verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
It says, I saw the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him.
Yep.
And there was given him dominion and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him.
Mm-hmm.
His
Now,
dominion,
as this is a vision dealing with Yahushua. All right. And as it says here, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom. So now, how did Yahushua get that dominion and glory and kingdom? By the sacrifice that he made. And that's why he told Pontius Pilate, this is not, this basically said, this is not my kingdom. If this were my kingdom, my servants would fight. Right. But when is his kingdom coming? Because he's already been given the authority, okay, and the power. He just has to wait till the Lord gives him that go ahead, all right, to come down and enact.
manifest. God.
There you go. You keep reading.
His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
Yep. And ultimately, as it says, his dominion is going to be an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. That's why, because how do the empires work? As it talks about in Daniel chapter 4, verse 17, right? That the Most High setteth up one kingdom and then takes down another, right? So when Yahushua comes, being that his kingdom is going to last forever, no other kingdom is ever going to rule after that. That's why our kingdom is going to be everlasting. And that's also why the Lord set our kingdom up to be last. Because these other nations have had their time to rule. They've had their chances to rule, whether they ruled, harshly or not. But being that our kingdom is going to be perfect, we're never going to be taken down. And so no other nation is going to get the opportunity to rise up into power ever again. Okay? I believe there is a bit more when you're going down about the
Yeah,
same
I'm trying to find
kingdom.
it. As for the heathens, their kingdom was taken away from them, right?
Yep.
Is that what you're looking for?
Actually, the part where it talks about the saints shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom. There we go. Verse.
Psalms 149.
No, right here. Daniel 7:22.
Oh,
Until the Ancient of Days. Yep.
right.
Yeah, like the brother said, the Lord saved the best for last. Yeah, because ultimately, though these things are taking place in history, these things are ultimately all still a part of our prologue. Okay, it's still all a part of our prologue, the prologue to our story. The real beginning of the greatest kingdom that ever was is going to be when Yahushua comes back. And the kingdom of heaven is going to be eternal. And because of that, we're going to look back at, this time period, the time from Adam all the way on down to the first Adam to the last Adam. And we're going to read that like how when you're watching a certain movie, for example, they show you in a lot of like these ancient movies, they'll have like the scroll in the background, and they'll have like the Chinese bamboo flute music, and then they'll have like some old man talking, with the drawing characters and stuff, somewhat years ago, the earth was like this, and you had these men, and then they fell, and then this happened, and then they went into captivity, and then that, and then the Lord sent a savior, and he came and delivered them, and now then they bring it all back to life, and they show you what the present looks like. But that's how it's going to be like for us, right? The present, this real story is going to begin in the kingdom, because there's going to be no limit or no bounds upon the growth, and the things that we're going to come up with and invent. We're gonna completely revolutionize living. We're gonna show all of existence how life is supposed to be lived. Right now, we just survive, but the Most High didn't create us to survive. The scriptures say that He made man to be immortal, dealing with the Israelite man. So not to be immortal slaves. The scriptures say, is Jacob a homeborn slave?
Um,
What you got?
I was just gonna bring out that precept you're looking for.
Yeah, go ahead.
Daniel 7 verse 18, it says, "But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even
Mm-hmm.
forever and ever." And you jump down to verse 22, it says, "Until the Ancient of Days come, the judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom."
And that's why ultimately Yahushua said what? He comes with his reward to give every man as his work shall be. So the judgment is going to be a reward either of destruction or a reward of salvation. All right. And so that judgment, when ultimately, because see, the Most High is long suffering and he is the ultimate judge. So he's going to give that sentence, and that sentence is going to be executed by Yahushua along with the nation of Israel, starting with the elect. And that's why the scriptures say, "Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. With
Mhm.
thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider." And then it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. What else you got?
Back it up, 149, Psalms chapter 149, starting from verse 5. Starting from verse 4 says, "For the Lord God taketh pleasure in his people. He will
Mm-hmm,
beautify the meek with salvation.
mm-hmm.
Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing out loud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathens, and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord."
You got it.
Yeah, just to back it up, like the Israel is the battle axe of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, and seeing as how these kingdoms have come to pass, he has made it fitting for us to be what the vessel, the vessel that he bestows his powers upon, under Yahweh Shai to take down these kingdoms.
That's right. That's right. Um, so okay, the next one we had was Revelation 1, right?
God.
Because remember in Daniel 7, we just read that it says that to Yahushua was given glory and power and dominion and principalities and pretty much all of that. So that's why when you go to Revelation, the first chapter and the seventh verse, like we're gonna get, it tells you that what? Actually, I'll wait till you get it and then we'll speak on it.
Wait, Slakia.
So I'll say Revelation, the first chapter.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We already had.
Con. So Revelation chapter 1, verse 7, it says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. They also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so among." So that power, remember that power and that glory and the dominion that Yahushua was given, and the vision that Daniel saw, that is the same power he's going to come with when he comes with the clouds, and he comes with the thousands of heaven to subdue the earth and to take, right, to take the earth. There's going to be a takeover. And right now, of course, the beast is in ruler in power right now, but you still have these other nations that still have their mini rulerships. You have the Elamites, you have other Edomites like the Russians, right? You have these Ishmaelites, okay, and they all have they're like the kings of the earth, and they all have their rulers and rulerships as well. But when Yahushua comes, that's all going to be done away with, because you could go to the east and they'll be living a different kind of life than when you come over here to the west.
Uh,
But during the time of Yahushua, that's not going to be. Everybody's going to be on the same level. It ain't going to be multiple religions, multiple beliefs.
mhm.
That's a whole bunch of confusion. It's going to be one way, and that's going to be the right way. All right, and that's why it says here, it says here, all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so among. Why? Because the Lord is coming to bring punishments and judgment to set people in order. Okay? And the works of the world are evil, so the destruction is what needs to come. That's why they're gonna wail. You got it.
Yeah. I think somebody puts the precept. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of so. And I will execute, Micah chapter 5 verse 15, and I will execute vengeance in anger and fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard. And just bringing this out because this is also, I guess, reinforcing the whole truth of this God-forsaken kingdom coming down. And it's gonna come down through the what? Through the destruction, which is fueled by the anger, right, and the vengeance of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai.
Right. That's right. Come. All right, so we can go to hit that in Second Esdras, because now we dealt with the power the Lord's been given. We dealt with him coming with the clouds, but now how is he going to come with the clouds, and what is he going to do? Why does it say that all the tribes wail because of him? Well, we're going to read that.
Right. Second Ezra chapter 13, starting from verse 1. It says, "And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night.
Mm-hmm.
And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof."
Right, because at this time, Ezra had separated from the congregation, and he went to like a field area where the Lord had sent the angel Uriel to him in order to explain and reveal certain things onto him. And so he was told to fast 7 days, and then he would get this vision, and then 7 days, and then he would be, the angel will come back to him and talk with him. And so that's what's going on. That's why he said after 7 days, right? He dreamed the dream by night, and he saw this vision right here. So Ezra the Lord revealed a lot of great mysteries to Ezra,
And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him.
Yeah, because he's coming. See, it's gonna be like they say, an alien invasion. So you're gonna have a big giant chariot that's gonna pull up, and of course everybody who sees is matter of fact, there's a scene from the movie Independence Day where everybody's living their regular life, people playing basketball and all of that, and all of a sudden a big shadow just gets cast all over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, as cars stop, people get out their cars, and immediately, where does everybody turn? They turn and they look up. As the scriptures say, all eyes shall see him. So they turn and they look up. People drop the basketball, and they see a giant fiery chariot coming out of a cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody gets shook up. Now, you mean to tell me that they're not going to be having that on cameras with the helicopters and the satellites? Of course they are. They're going to be zooming in, trying to catch Yahweh Shai. What is that? What's going on? That chariot, that thing is so huge. All right. And so that's why it says when it turned, everybody trembled that were seen under him, because he's coming above. He's in the air.
Right.
And I believe in the scripture, it'll tell you he flew up upon it, upon his chariot. Okay. So he's going to be up, and everybody under is going to be afraid because, number one, it's a huge chariot. Number two, you got angels. Number three, these chariots are not just going to come here just for show. Look at the armor. Imagine the sound of a chariot. Ezra said it was like the sound of a wave, imagine the sound system of a chariot, of Yahushai's chariot. And then he drops one laser blast and freaking blows up 20 states at once. You think people are going to be, having a good time? No, they're going to be afraid.
And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice.
Right, and that's not. Oh, Slack, you go ahead.
Like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Damn.
Right, and that's not necessarily dealing with Yahushua turning into a dragon and breathing on people, but that voice goes into the commands that he's going to give, and number two, goes into the mouth of his chariot. Okay, because when the Lord gives that command, there's got to be a area in the chariot that allows for a laser to come out or for a tractor beam to come out and beam you up. Okay, so he's going to emit fire, or let me say a concentrated heat from his chariot, and that's going to burn. When it says all they burned that heard his voice, it means anybody that was targeted by his lasers, all right, from that chariot got eviscerated, smoked, literally smoked. It says, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. When the earth fails, it means it dies. So what it means by like as when the earth faileth, it means, for example, if you got a garden and somebody sets a fire in the garden, the earth in that area is failing because the fire is burning and taking away the life in that area. Okay?
Right. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number, from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea.
And the sea is talking about the heavens where Yahushua is going to come from. Now, the innumerable multitude, right? They would gather the multitude of men. These men are the armies of the other nations. When you go to Revelation, matter of fact, I'll get it real quick. In the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 7, it says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon." So these are all precepts that link together, right? Because it says they came to subdue the man, right? That's that war in heaven. That's that one realm against another. That's the Lord and the heavenly hosts, which are the angels, against the dragon and his angels, which are Esau, his armies, and the armies of the rest of these nations. So as it says here, Revelation 12 and 7, "And there was war in heaven," because the chariots fly, and Esau also has flying devices, planes, jets, It says the Michael and his angels, which Michael is going to be here under Yahushua, but Michael is the top angel under Yahushua. So Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Who's the dragon? The dragon is ultimately Esau, but in this context, it's going to be his military. Okay, and the dragon fought and his angels, so that's going to be his military and their armies, as well as the armies of the others that are going to join with them to fight against the Lord. That's where you get the multitude of men out of number, because these men are going to be the armies of the earth, of all these nations. They're going to, quote unquote, come together to fight against the common enemy. And as it says in Revelation 12 and 8, "And prevailed not." So it tells you what's going to be the outcome of the war in heaven. That what these armies, they're going to fail. They're not going defeat the Lord, not even come close. It says, "And prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven." So they're going. It's like that the first Avengers movie, when that giant alien and alien craps and whatnot came out the air and shit, and it was just wilding out on them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it says, "Neither was their place found anymore in heaven," meaning that you're not going to see their planes in the skies anymore. Their satellites, all that is going to be destroyed. But also, heaven being in their condition of rulership, they're going to be taken out of power. It says, "And the dragon was and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan." It's all talking about the same person at the end of the day, which is Esau, Edom.
Right.
Which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, meaning that they were now brought down into subjection, into servitude, into captivity. All right, and all of them with them, meaning them, their people, their armies, their heathens, the heathens, all of them. So they're going to be in captivity for 1,000 years, and they're going to remain tributary unto us.
Come on. You can bring that precept. Yeah.
I got a precept.
Mm-hmm.
This is Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 4. "And his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power."
All right, you can break it.
Bring it out on the screen. Salakia.
Mm-hmm.
"Before him went the pestilence, and burning coals went forth at his feet. He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations.
Right,
And
now
the mountains were scattered."
go back up to where you started. Start up actually at hold on 1 second. Yeah, you could start up at
verse
at
1.
2.
Okay, verse 2. All right.
This is Habakkuk chapter 3 and 2. "O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years."
Now it's spiritual because it mentioned how when all they that heard the voice of him burn, right? But Habakkuk is seeing the things, the judgments the Lord has pronounced against this place, and he said, "Yo, Lord, I was afraid." Like what?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Go ahead.
"In the midst of the years make known. In wrath remember mercy."
In wrath, remember mercy. Why is that? Because the vengeance of the Lord is going to be so terrible that it's going to seem as though nobody's going to get mercy at all. And that's why it says the righteous shall scarcely make it. And Habakkuk, the same Habakkuk said, He said, Lord, were you angry at the trees? Because I mean, everybody got the work, with the exception of the elect.
There was a precept, nice precept for that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Isaiah 66, starting from verse 15, it says, "For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariot like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
Mm-hmm.
For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many."
Right. Yeah. Yep. So when you go into the word plead, it's not like you think of typically when you plead with somebody, you're pleading your case, you're almost like begging. The Lord is not going to come and beg people. Plead meaning he's going to judge them. Okay, he's going to judge them with fire and his rebuke as what, as flames, roughly paraphrasing. So why are they going to be rebuked? Because their works are evil, and that's why they're going to wail because of him.
That's
right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, so we're at what? Habakkuk?
Habakkuk 3:3.
Mm-hmm.
God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran, Salah. His glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise.
That's right. And also when he comes back, him coming in his power and glory, he is going to cover the heavens. And that's why when Ezra, he looked up, he said, I could not see from whence the Lord's chariot was
like a great mountain, and I looked to see where it was hewn from, and I could not see it.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Verse 4, and his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power.
See, and that's a dark saying, because it doesn't mean that the Lord grew literal horns out of his hand. The same way, it doesn't mean that the Lord is literally gonna burn people with fire out of his mouth. And also in Revelation 19, it talks about out of his mouth going forth a sharp sword. He ain't gonna pull out a nice sword out of his mouth either. It's metaphorical, but in this sense, there we go. Like the brother put it up, the horns coming out of his hand, the horns represent, like it says, a ray of light. Okay, and the rays of light is going into what? That lasers, those lasers that are gonna come from his chariot. Now look up
hand.
Hand.
Yeah.
Is on the bottom right there.
We'll go up a bit.
Yeah, go up a bit.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Now it says yad, and notice it has here one of the definitions is axle tree.
Axle tree.
Right. Now when you look up the axle, I looked it up before, and it basically, when you have like a chariot wheel, I don't know, can you see if you can pull up like an image of a chariot wheel?
Image, quick, paste it. And
all right, no, that one's good. You can go up. Yeah, boom.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna put chariot.
There you go. You see that part right there? Now, when you look at a chariot, right? When you look at the typical depiction of a chariot, go back up to the actual wheel.
All right.
Yeah, or actually the one on your left is good. Right on the left of that.
Oh, this one, right?
Boom. So you see that center piece right there? That is what connects one wheel to the other wheel on the other side. But now when you look at it in the sense of that middle piece, if you look at the outer piece as the outer ring of the chariot, like Ezekiel described the chariot as what? A wheel within a wheel.
Right.
So the axle tree being that core, that center of the inner wheel, if you look at it like a chariot, typically where do you see the tractor beam or the laser beams come from? They come from right in that inner wheel, right? So as he said, out of his hands came out horns. Okay, meaning that out of that inner circle of his chariot came out those laser beams, which you're gonna have the lasers to destroy, and you're gonna have the tractor beams to deliver, to beam up his elect, which is like a typical depiction. Of course, we're gonna see what it actually looks like, how the elect are gonna go up, right? You can read the next verse. Oh, and it says what? And there was the hiding of his power, because ultimately, where's that destruction that's going to bring the fear? Where's it going to come from? When people see the chariot, they're going to be afraid. But what's going to make them more afraid? When those beams start coming out. You see, that's really where the destruction is going to come out from, along with the missiles. But you don't want to get targeted by a laser beam. You're gonna turn to a ball of smoke.
Ezra's literally said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can read the where we at?
Verse 5.
Yeah, you can read that.
Habakkuk 3 and 5. Before him went the pestilence, and burning coals went forth at his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations.
That's what he's coming to do, and that's why there ain't gonna be no more empires of the heathen. Go on.
And the everlasting mountains were scattered.
Mm-hmm.
The perpetual hills did bow.
Mm-hmm.
His ways are everlasting.
Done. That's it. So there you go. Now that we know that the mountains and the hills represent governments, you have greater governments and lesser governments, but ultimately at Yahushua's presence, they all gonna bow and they all gonna be brought down. All right. So let's keep going.
Oh, Habakkuk. Okay.
What you got? No. Back in Second Esdras.
Oh, second answer. Yeah.
Mhm.
I forgot where we left off.
The earth faileth when it feeleth the fire, the multitude gathered together. Verse 5.
Verse 5. Okay.
Yeah.
And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the men that came out of the sea.
Right, and that's
No. Go ahead.
Okay, that was that's the armies of these other nations. That means the Russians, the Chinese, the Moab, all of them. Go on.
Verse 6.
But I beheld, and lo, he had driven himself a grave mountain and flew upon it.
Right, and that's his chariot. Go on.
But I would have seen the region of place where out the heel was graven, and I could not.
Mm-hmm.
And after this, I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight.
There you go. They were so afraid, and yet durst fight. And that shows you that you don't have free will, because they would have wanted to not fight, but why did they still fight anyway? Same reason Peter denied the Lord 3 times, because the Spirit of the Lord compelled them to. You may, Apostle Hart gave the example. You may be saying, you know what, F it, I'll die for my country. You get into the Edomite spirit and shit, and they get in the fighter jets, and they go on full speed, and the angel just pops right in front of them with a scary ass face and shit, ready for war. And then they try to bust the U-turn and turn the plane around. The angel like, nah, nigga, come right here. Boom. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna crush your ass today. You know, because if you go head on with a chariot, my man, the chariot. There was a video of them shooting missiles at chariots in the air, and they ain't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And smoke cleared, the chariot was still in the same position.
Damn.
So what you think is going to happen to you when you run straight forward and meet in a fighter jet against a chariot? That's like if a toddler ran full speed against 100 mile an hour. What's that truck to trailer? You know, that thing, he would be done. All right.
Verse 9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war.
Why? Because when you have a war, when you're in war, if you see an enemy coming, what do? You reach for your sword if it's not already out, or you get into battle mode. But when Yahushua saw them coming, he didn't get into let me reach for my sword, or let me get into a mode or defensive mode. No. He didn't do any of that.
Unfazed.
Right? Yeah, he wasn't phased.
Damn. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it has been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he had cast out sparks and tempest.
That's it. So that's going to be the horns. That is what it's comprised of. You're going to have a mixture of fire, of sparks and tempest. You're going to have all of that mixed. So here it is. You're getting hit with a laser beam, and you don't know whether you're getting shocked or burned. You just feeling like a pain sensation. Shot burn. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, you don't know whether to shake or to scream, and you know what I'm saying? All you know is you in the spirit world. You just turn into a puff of smoke. You know, you screaming and shit. The angel's like, yo, relax. You up here? Relax. Shut up.
And they were all mixed together. The blast of fire, the flaming breath,
mm-hmm.
And the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived,
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid.
Oh
Dog,
shit.
that's like a Dragon Ball Z scene. And you notice it says it fell with what? Violence. Meaning that force which the chariot is going boom, like that impact, in which, so you imagine how big that blast is going to be, how destructive it's going to be, to where all of a sudden, just like that, you're going to go from people to nothing, just smoke. And that's why Ezra said I was afraid, because he saw that shit and he looked at it and he's looking for the people and he's like, what the
Like a lightning strike,
yeah, like a lightning
very
strike.
quick, and then
That's it. The smoke clears and ain't nobody left. No bodies, no nothing, just smoke. Of course that's scary. You're like, oh Lord. Like, so he was afraid. And that's why he said it. He said I was afraid. All right. But now that was it on that. We could move on to the next one, Revelation 19. Which Revelation 19 is also describing 2nd Ezra 13, is just saying it in another way. Because these prophets got the same visions, just spoken or received in different ways. But it's talking about the same thing.
Revelation chapter 19, verse 11, it says, "And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war.
And that's talking about Yahushua.
His eyes were as flame of fire, and on his bed were many crowns,
His head.
and his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself."
So now, why did he have many crowns upon his head? Where did he get the crowns from? From the rulers of these other nations. All right, the kings of the earth, as they're called. So the crowns is not literal, okay, because they don't actually have crowns on their head, but it represents all their rulerships. He had it all. Okay, he had many crowns because now ain't no more Kim Jong-un or Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin or Vladimir Zelensky or Queen none of that. No, what's that dude? Boris Johnson, Biden, none of that. All of it is gone.
History.
It's history, yeah.
Yep. Damn. His eyes were as flames of fire. Oh, verse 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of God.
There you go. Go on.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
So who are those armies? The armies represent the angels. Michael, because remember in Revelation 12, it mentioned who? Michael. All right. So Michael, the rest of the archangels, the rest of the angels, they're gonna come, and it says on horses, which represent the chariots. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, yeah.
Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, it says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as was there never was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, and everyone that shall be found written in the books." Like
now you good, So that's why it says at that time shall Michael stand up, because Yahushua is going to come with Michael and the rest of the angels. And as we read in Revelation 12 and 7, because Yahushua is going to be the top, but he's going to be given the commands. And Michael being the head archangel under him, he'll be sort of like leading the charge, so to speak. Okay, and that's why you hear about Michael, but ultimately Yahushua is going to be the one giving those commands.
I think the brother had a precept.
Okay.
Trying to get it right now. It's just to reinforce Revelation 19 and 13. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah 63 and 1.
Yeah. Oh, you got it?
So it's definitely going to be a heavy day,
Yeah.
Heavy day.
I got it. It says Isaiah chapter 63 and 1. "Who is this that coming from Edom, with dyed garments from Basra? Is this that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength?"
That's right. So to back it up with verse 13,
God. Yeah, that's why he said. Oh, actually, I think if you keep going, he mentions about wherefore art thou red in thine apparel. That's why it says a vesture dipped in blood, because what color is blood? Red. Now it's metaphorical, meaning it represents how much killing the Lord is going to do.
Right.
Right.
You want him to keep going, or
no, it's fine. I'll keep going.
All right. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he should rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of the Almighty God.
Yeah, so that shows you it's talking about Yahushua, because it's also it links parallel with the precept the brother brought out earlier in Isaiah, I believe 63. Now, it also shows you Yahushua is going to be doing more killing than anybody, because it says his vesture was like one dipped in blood, and the rest of the angels had fine linen, white and clean. So they're going to be getting busy too, but he's going to be getting real busy. Ain't nobody going to hold the Lord back. Jay, you fight, chill, hold me back. They used to make memes about that. Who's going to tell the Lord? Who's going to hold the Lord back? Who's going to tell the Lord to chill? The scripture says, who shall not be utterly be into powder at his presence? Before even lifting a finger, just his presence alone. So ain't nobody going to tell the Lord to chill.
Yeah.
It says he's going to scream like a travailing woman. You're going to hear a war cry like that, and you're going to try to open your mouth to say chill?
Right.
There we go. That's it.
Isaiah 66?
No, Isaiah 42, 14.
Prior to travailing woman. You can read this, the 66, and then get 42.
Isaiah 66:16, it says, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
That's right. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. You see, and that's what's written metaphorically as his apparel being red.
All right, this is Isaiah chapter 42 and 14. I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself.
Yeah, because he had to wait on the right hand of Yahweh till the Lord gave him the go-ahead.
Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once.
That's it. He's going to destroy and devour at once. That's why he's coming with great speed and wrath. All right?
Another precept.
No, it's all good. The precept must be upon precept.
Right. Line upon line.
Line upon line. Here a little.
It's just 63. That's pretty much it.
That's all right.
Just bring it up. Yeah, just gotta go down to just finish it up on that. 63 verse 3 says, I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I would tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garment, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the day of my redeemed is come, and the year of my redeemed is come. Right, that's pretty much it.
Yep. So that's why I said, go back to Revelation 19, because here it says he will tread them in mine anger, right?
Right.
And here it talks about
winepress.
Yeah, the winepress, because
there
you go. That's it. No, you got it. That's it. Because when you tread something, is used in terms of being in the winepress, because you would actually be stomping, on that winepress, stepping on it to get the blood out of the grapes. Let's keep going.
And he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourself together unto the supper of the great God.
So the Most High is going to give he promised the birds a feast, because there's going to be so much death. They're going to eat and drink and be full.
Verse 18, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the beast and the king of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
Yeah, and that links back with what we read in Second Esdras about
Mhm.
what the number, the people out of number who came
Yeah.
to try and subdue. That's
Mhm.
ultimately them right there. The beast, which is NATO and the EU. In Revelation 12, was spoken as the dragon and his angels. So it's all talking about the same event. It says, "Well, I saw the beast and the kings of the earth, right, and
Mhm.
their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army, one realm against another." This is going to be the greatest war that has ever taken place in all.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, the greatest war. Shit.
Man, and to think that it's gonna be so great that it's gonna be look, we're gonna be living for eternity and it's still gonna be something to talk about. That's how great it's gonna be,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Man, that's a good
For it
point.
to be relevant for eternity, that's
Yeah.
crazy, you know.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
God. Wow.
Continue or
Yeah, keep going.
Revelation 19:20, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him.
So now you got the beast, which is NATO and the EU, spearheaded by America, and with
Mhm.
them the false prophet, which goes into the Catholic Church,
Right.
and all their daughter churches, basically the
Mhm.
religious system as a whole.
Right.
All right. It says, with which he deceived them that have received the MOTB, which is which that shows you that they're gonna play a role in that.
Yeah.
Because we gonna say, no, this is biblical, you ain't supposed to take it, and they're gonna say, no, 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 don't listen to them. Listen to us. It ain't that. That's not what it is. Don't worry about it. You could take it. And they're gonna deceive a lot of people and make them comfortable in their minds to go ahead and take it.
Yeah. Like they did with
The thing, yep.
the thing.
Exactly.
And yeah, you had TD Snakes and bro, you didn't have to go on the news. They had a whole Sunday
Right.
service on the news about that's they sellouts, man.
Oh yeah.
And them that worship this image, these both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone.
Mm-hmm.
And the remnants were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse.
Mm-hmm. Meaning
Which,
those that were left.
mhm, which sword proceedeth out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
So now, when Yahushua comes, ultimately, this is what he's going to do. And after he has done this, because this is the climax. Now, after you hit the climax, you now got to start coming back down. So that war leading to that peace, after he does this, that's when there's going to be no more war after that. This is going to end the war of all wars. And that's going to lead into our last precept, Isaiah, the 2nd chapter.
God. Isaiah chapter 2, starting from verse 1, it says, the word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains.
So what is the mountain of the Lord's house? Ultimately, the kingdom of heaven, the government of Israel,
right,
which is going to start with Yahushua, well, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, and then the rest of the 144,000.
right.
They're going to be the governing body. Okay, so the portion of the elect that's going to be the governing body is going to be the 144,000. All right, and the rest of the elect are still going to be in that high position because there's going to be order and rank in the kingdom.
Right.
You got it?
And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it.
Yeah. Yeah, so all these nations, they're going to see how they look to America at one point as that golden cup, that golden city. They're going to look to Israel as that golden city, as that the city of the gods, right? And they're going to tell stories. They're going, oh, wow, you know they say, right? Legends say that they're actually gods that live in there and over there in Jerusalem, and if you real quiet, you could catch them one night flying in those shit. See, these heathens are gonna have stories about us.
Yeah.
They're gonna say whenever you see a chariot, they're gonna say that's the vehicle of the gods. The gods are in there.
Yeah.
And they're gonna see us flying in the chariot. Oh shit! Oh, he's here. Oh, So we're gonna be like in movies when you watch. That's gonna be us. They're going, oh my gosh, mom, can I see? And they're gonna fantasize about growing up and being able to even work. Because you're going to have certain jobs where they're going to have to, certain people are going to bring the riches of the Gentiles to us. See? So they're going fantasize about getting a job where, like today you got truck drivers, and truck drivers get to see things, because delivery drivers, if you got to deliver into a rich man's area, you get to go into the property, right? As you're driving, you get access to drop off whatever the package is. So they're going to fantasize to just be able to bring their riches and their best things to us. Can you imagine what joy a heathen family would have if an Israelite king chose one of their daughters to be their concubine? If you, as an Israelite king, chose one of the daughters of the other nations and said, I want her to be my concubine, do you know how much joy that family and that neighborhood would be in? It's what, yo, do you know such and such, I don't know, Sarah Yao, I don't know, some name, she the one of the kings chose her to be his concubine. What? Yeah, people gonna be losing their minds.
Yeah.
Because that's like going from 0 to 100 for a heathen.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, you gotta pay, you gotta deal accordingly, because you're gonna be taking it onto you. So they go, oh shit, the king chose my daughter. Oh shit, hey, the rest of you shut the fuck up. The king chose my daughter. It's gonna be, they're gonna be all excited.
Right.
Because the Lord is gonna make us literally gods of the earth. So any interaction, any slight, even sight of us is gonna be something. Oh my gosh, yo, I saw him. They're so huge. They're so tall. He was flying, and he had this glow, and it was unreal.
Like some of these chefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, the dude just cooks food, but the fact that he cooked for Obama, everybody gotta hear about it. Like, yo, yeah, like that's how it's gonna be, man.
Right.
Instead, and this is Obama, man. Like fucking Hamite, who rule over a kingdom that's supposed to be destroyed in 1 hour.
Right.
Imagine much more. Those that are with you outside.
So
brother got a precept.
Mm-hmm.
This is 1 Kings chapter 10 and 1. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord.
Select. Let me bring it up right now. Was it
1 Kings 10 and 1.
Right.
I'll start again. This is 1 Kings 10 and 1. And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with her very great train, with camels that bear spices and very much gold, and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not.
Mm-hmm.
And when the queen of Sheba had seen all of Solomon's wisdom, and the house that he had built,
continue.
And the meat of his table, and the seating of his servants, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his ascent, by which he went up unto the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her.
She basically fainted because she was in awe. It was like she was in heaven.
Yeah.
And she's like looking at she looking at the servants. She looking at his table. She looking at the clothes they wearing. She looking at the way he's moving. She's like, this guy ain't human. He is not from this place. Now remind you, she's a queen, right?
Yeah.
And she's coming thinking, let me find out who this guy is. And everybody's talking about this guy. Let's go see what he's about. But she came to prove him with hard questions, right? Is he just one of those? Let me find out. And she's hearing things that her brain can't even comprehend. She's like, what the? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? How? How do you even give an answer like that?
Yeah.
She regrets even asking the question. Now and she's all messed up.
Yeah.
And she's looking at all this and she's saying, like she basically feels like a peasant in his presence.
Yeah.
Queen.
Yeah.
She's like, that's a real, you want to talk about riches, you want to talk about real living? That right there, his cupbearers, people that just pour the wine and pour the drink for him alone. Can you imagine that? And that was King Solomon on earth.
Yeah.
Ooh, how much more for us in the kingdom? King Solomon was a man. Even he went off. So how much more us in our perfection? King Solomon still wore clothes that were made with the hands of men. King Solomon still wore jewelry with the earth, not in this perfect state.
Yeah.
You see? King Solomon was still a man. So how much more for us who are going to be made perfect? That's the thing. Perfect. We're going to have perfect knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, perfect bodies, perfect everything. You know, man, perfect. I mean, the technology that we're going to be using in the kingdom.
Oh man, that's yeah.
Forget this. We're going to be using spiritual tech.
Yeah, one with like no side effect, like
none.
In order to use a car, the planet gotta die, nigga. What?
Right.
We don't use that technology, man.
It's
not gonna use the technology that produces the environment, you know.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add, like, you know, the Queen of Sheba, like, you know, brothers brought it up one time that kings and queens, they have a court. So you just know that she didn't just sit there and come up with questions. She had like a whole wise men of all over her country come and she brought those questions with her to Solomon, man. You know, at least that's how I'm thinking about it, you know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. You know, so you imagine all of that, and then now check this out. You got technology now that can do things that they couldn't do back then.
Yeah.
So how much more for the kingdom when we're gonna have all eternity? You're gonna have the minds of immortal gods who basically have almost infinite knowledge, and we're gonna have infinite time to express and build on that infinite knowledge. And as time goes, technology advances, right? So imagine how much more advanced our kingdom will be in 1,000 years, in a million years, in 1,000,000,000,000 years. We're gonna be doing things that completely impossible to even. That's why the Lord said, the scriptures say, "It is eyes have not seen, neither have ears heard, neither have they entered into the minds of men what the Most High has in store for us." If we saw the kingdom, if we had a vision of the kingdom 1,000,000,000 years from now, we wouldn't know what we were looking at. We would be so, our mind would overload because we wouldn't even begin to understand what the hell did I just see, or what the heaven did I just see, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I read this somewhere that the number of like neurons in our brains that allows us to think is less than like the number of like stars and galaxies and planets. Everything there is to know about the universe, like your mind, your mind ain't exactly, man.
Yeah, we can't, we don't have enough to comprehend.
Exactly. That's why it takes generations. Somebody gets a little bit, he writes it down, and somebody continues upon it, and somebody continues upon it. Yeah.
Hey, think about it right now. Even in one aspect, we can't even. Damn, man. In one aspect, let's say we're dealing with the scriptures, right? And we go into the history of certain things.
Right.
Man, even if you had 10,000 years to live, you couldn't grasp all the history contained in the pages of this book.
Yeah.
Right? How much more for, and that's just history, how much more for like herbs or all the knowledge that the world has acquired up until this point?
Yeah.
Our brain can't even come close to being able to fit. Man, you have trouble. Jake got trouble watching a 20-minute sit down. You know what I'm saying? So how much more, you know what I'm saying? You got to just take notes. You're like, what's that name? You know, we try to remember names. You know, we try to remember dates. Just like 5 kings in 4 different time periods, and it's hard to remember. Matter of fact, even now, look, if the Lord took one of us now to the top of a mount and did what he did to Moses and said, look, this is how I want you to build this. You take 5 steps down the mountain. Oh shit. Damn, I forgot what he said. He said I had to lay it over and under. Then now you're contemplating whether you should turn back and maybe the Lord might blast your ass with a laser beam, or whether you should keep going. You're going to mess it up and then get blasted then. So now you fuck up in the middle. You know, but that shows you how low we fallen. You know, but ultimately the kingdom, man, hey, we're gonna be on a whole nother level, man. Trust, hey, that's why we go so hard now, because we don't know exactly what we're gonna get, but we know that whatever it is, guaranteed by the Lord, God on T, it's not gonna be something light, man. Right?
Yeah.
So let's finish off in before we read this will be the last precept. Let's finish in Isaiah 2nd chapter, I believe,
okay.
Verses.
Yeah. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow unto it.
Mhm.
And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up the mountain of the Lord, to the house of God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and a word of the God from Jerusalem.
Mhm.
And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nations, neither shall they learn war anymore.
Neither shall they learn war anymore.
Yeah.
So that was it on that. That's gonna be the kingdom of everlasting peace.
That's right.
Everlasting. Not because you see, when you play a video game or when you watch a movie, you want action. You want war. You want because then the movie is boring and dull. That's not how real life works. In real life, you don't want action and war all the time. No, in real life, you want peace is what you want.
Yeah, yeah.
The scenes that are boring in the movies in real life, that's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody out riding a bike or just enjoying the sunset. You don't want to watch that on TV. What the fuck is that? You know, I want to see you weaving and knocking somebody out when you shot his cousin and his pops find out and he catch you in the alley. You don't want to be in that situation in real life. Your heart's gonna be being so loud you can't think. So in real life, those scenes we don't want to see, we want to live that.
Mhm.
That's why the kingdom being everlasting peace, that's gonna be what we want. Everybody's gonna want that. You breathing, man, imagine being the earth looking so beautiful and vibrant. It's gonna look like an actual cartoon. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
you be like, I'd rather live in a cartoon than in real life. Shit look dull and lifeless. Instead, the trees are gonna be green, vibrant. You know, the sun, the skies are gonna be clear, no chemtrails. The birds are gonna be chirping. The wind is gonna damn near the wind is gonna talk to you. You're gonna caress you and shit like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, it's gonna the trees are gonna bow as you walk. You know, you might be walking and you reach your hand and the tree might bow and then drop a fruit. You know, and then you eat it. You know, this real good. You feel the breeze and shit. Thank you. You know,
lions and squirrels come to visit you and all these things.
God, you know, because you know they show you that in the Lion King how Mufasa sent the bird to go and watch with son and stuff. You're gonna be able to do that. You know, animals and stuff. Yo, you send a message. You know, hey, it's gonna be beautiful, man. And to think that it's this close. You know, all we waiting for is that charagma, and then after destruction, we out of here.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And we just had the Passover. So I mean, look, the way the Lord has set it up, man, we almost out of here. You just gotta hold on strong just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Yahushua is coming to get us out of here, man. You know? So you could pull up what the brother had and then we could wrap it up on that.
First Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9. But as it is written, eye has not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them that love him.
Ooh, God is prepared for them that love him. How do you show you love the Lord? What did the Lord tell Peter? Simon Peter, lovest thou me?
Yeah.
Yea, Lord, thou knowest. Feed my lambs, feed my sheep. So what are we doing now? We're feeding the sheep to show the Lord that what? We love him. And if we love the Lord, then guess what? This is going to be our reward.
That's right.
So we have absolutely no problem doing this. We would do this until the day we die, because guess what? If we die in this truth, we get a crown. If we live in this truth, we get a crown. Whether we die or we live, we do it all until
it's a win-win situation. That's right.
That's it. It's a win-win. So long as you don't fall out, it's a win-win. You know. So when you think about these things, you say maybe you might get rebuked. Think about it. You say, am I going to risk my salvation because I got butt hurt because I got rebuked? You know, or I did something wrong and I feel bad about it, or what? You got to think of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Always the bigger picture. Oh, I don't see eye to eye with a certain brother. Am I gonna risk my salvation because of that? Hell no. I'll be the bigger man. Yo, you stepped in my sneaker. Hey, bro, you can have the sneakers if you want. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, because I'm thinking of the bigger picture. What the hell is a petty back and forth what a brother gonna do for you? You're gonna be there burning in hot missile heat, being missile food, thinking about how because I didn't hash out my problems with my brother, I'm burning my ass here while they up in the chariot getting their bodies changed. I'm getting my body changed all right, but not the way that I want. You got
into smoke.
Hey, but that's it.
Yeah, God.
So hey, y'all got anything else? Anything to say?
Nah, that's pretty much it. That's everything is said.
All right. Hey, so Lord willing, that was edifying unto the elect. You know, Lord, we're gonna give all praises, honor, and glory. Yahweh,
Bahashem,
Until next time, shalom.
Shalom.